Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join real estate entrepreneur and mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome to Construct Your Life. This is Austin Linney here, and I have the honor of having Mr. David Cohen here. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. I see we got the same color shirt. We got the memo. So here's the deal, guys. In true Construct Your Life fashion, we've only DM'd a couple times. I don't really know this gentleman that well, so we're going to hear about him together. So David, I'll let you start wherever you want to and kind of tell us about what you're doing and your journey.
Absolutely. As Austin said, my name is David Cohen. I got into real estate and just in general as a human being. I was raised by a single mother, right? Who was in the mortgage business. Father, kind of went to prison when I was 3 years old. And it got to a point where it's just like, mom was just sick and tired of making up lies, to us of where Pops is. And, they ended up getting a divorce really early. So, I was raised by a single, super hardworking mother. At the time she was a loan officer. We're talking about in the 90s, right? Where all you needed to pre-qualify for something was a piece of paper that says, I want to buy a house, right? Versus today, extremely harder, but raised by a single mother in the San Fernando Valley, which is a small pocket in Los Angeles, in California. While doing that, we were in school. I'm an older brother to one sister, and that's it. So it was two kids. Growing up, life was pretty easy, to say the least. I mean, my mother was very successful at the time, and she wasn't the best at saving money, though, right? Mm-hmm. She made tons of money, but we would do, the most random thing, go on trips all the time, and just whatever we wanted, she would purchase. So as things got harder in the mortgage world, like breaking into the 2010s and later, just in real estate in general, things started to slow down for her. But rewinding a little bit, I grew up in San Fernando Valley, just different high schools. I bounced around to a few high schools. I was a nationally ranked basketball player, growing up as a kid. So that was my thing. I was born into a real estate family. So my uncle, my grandmother, my uncle and my grandmother were residential real estate agents, big residential real estate agents in Los Angeles. And my mother being a mortgage broker. So, it just used to go full circle between the three of them. Maybe as I finished high school, I went overseas to Israel, actually tried to play some basketball. Ended up playing professionally for like 2 years. This was actually during high school. So maybe 17 years old, I upped and left in the middle of school. And over there, the way it works when you're still in school, you go live in your school. And then the team, whatever, will pick you up and, send you back and forth. It got a little much for me. My dad got out of prison in 2000. So he went to prison in 1994, got out of prison in 2002. But the only reason he got out was because it was kind of like a choice, hey, you're gonna stay here, or, we're going to take your green card and you're going to go back. Right. So he obviously is like, I'm going back. So my dad's been living in Israel pretty much all my life. And being out there with him, it was cool, but it just, after about a year, it becomes a little much, right? You're so used to growing up where you have friends and where people, and I'm like, hey, I want to be successful in Los Angeles. I don't want to be successful in Israel or wherever it may be, just simply because you have people and it's what always. I was never a bad kid. I was never a troublemaker. As I tapped into maybe like 16, 17 years old, when I came back, just playing a lot of basketball, smoking a lot of weed. You know what I mean? And again, not a troublemaker. Not saying that anyone who smokes weed is. I don't anymore. But that was my life, right? Hanging out waiting until 4 o'clock hits so I can run out of the door with my paycheck and just spend it on having fun and with friends and partying and whatnot. That was really my life for a long time. It was really my life for a long time, and until slowly you grow up. But it was for me, to say there's one changing moment would be inaccurate. There was a ton, and it kind of, life just unfolded as I just went about it. I mean, there was no day when I just, everything clicked and I'm like, okay, now I'm all of a sudden, a multi-million-dollar real estate broker or anything like that. It just, everything that I've accomplished literally happened just on its own, and I feel like that's a big thing in life, right? Too many people are focused on, okay, how do I do this and how do I do that? Not knowing if you just put the work in, everything will unravel as it should, right? Because not until you get a little bit older, you realize, like, that's life. As long as you work hard, you have faith and you're a good person, good things are bound to happen. The timing, however, is, not up to you. But some people get frustrated with that, and some people understand that everything, everything positive and impactful does happen in due time.
One of my favorite lines is the universe is undefeated.
It really is.
She always wins. Yeah. So
she always does.
So you came back from Israel and you were done, I guess, playing basketball. Did you get into real estate right then?
I called my mother one night. I was over there after the season started. After the season ended, I started just partying, and I have tons of cousins there, right? So you start partying, you start drinking every night, and my life was headed south real fast, really, really fast. I remember calling my mother one day, and I told her, hey, I want to come back. And she's like, if you come back, you're going to work for your uncle. So, okay, at that point, I didn't care, right? I came back, and then my real estate world started. At the time, my uncle was doing REOs, right? This is like 2009, the crash. He was doing REOs. At this point in California, at least in Los Angeles, there was only like maybe 3 agents that held like large accounts, right? So these banks would feed them these REOs, and then we would, do whatever we have to do, evict them, cash for keys, get bids, fix up the place, whatever the bank would want, and then obviously you submit those invoices to the bank and you get reimbursed, right? So you put out this money, and then it comes back later. But that's what I was literally just a runner. My job was to drive from property to property to property, rekey doors, take pictures, literally every day. So I wasn't really doing anything.
How old were you?
I was about 17 years old.
Okay.
18 years old. Yeah, this was 1 year.
So at the time you go from, I'm playing basketball and I'm somebody who can hoop, to I'm just taking pictures and running stuff. I'm sure like that was an interesting ego check.
It was, but I was still in a young mindset. So for me, it was like, I'll do whatever I got to do to get $500 on Friday to go hang out with my friends on Saturday and Sunday. And my paycheck, my paychecks were by Monday, they're gone, but I'm living with my parents. I'm living with my parents, with my mom at least at the time. And so it doesn't matter, right? For me to not have any money from Tuesday till Friday didn't really impact me,
Yeah.
It was just that, I didn't care about anything but getting that Friday paycheck. I was going to work simply because it was cool to make money at that time. $500 a week seemed like the world to me.
100%. And so you're doing that for a while. Did you ever go on from there to do something different for them, or was that kind of what you did for quite a while?
I did. I did not have a real estate license yet. My grandmother is a very super business minded, super successful agent, right? Wasn't born in America, right? Speaks 5 languages. And she was doing, when she came here and she got her real estate license, she was just extremely successful, and real estate was her thing. So because being so, her being so business minded, it's like, hey, David, you're 18. You got to get your license when you're 18 now, do it now, do it now, do it now. I did not, simply because I was just, my interest was, again, just doing other stuff, real estate, or at least I wouldn't even call it real estate. My job at the time was just funding my habits, my of hanging out with friends and stuff. I started slowly working my way up, not into an agent world, just taking up on more responsibility, ended up being like the account manager for the banks for my uncle. So I would just handle everything from that point. And I ended up not being the driver, to have basically, to overseeing the person who's driving and taking pictures and whatnot, in different places. So, some would call it a step up. It was really nothing. My income didn't change whatsoever. When you're working for family, shit always travels downhill. So it's like, it got to a point, Austin, where I was just like, I made up a lie. I made up a lie to my uncle because I didn't know how to get out of there, right? Without being disrespectful. And I was like, hey, I'm going to go back to school. Fast forward to today, I'm pretty sure he knew I was bullshitting him, but, he was like, all right. So I went ahead and did nothing for 6-7 months. I was in a previous relationship. It was horrible. I was just depleting my savings of nothing, which was like $7,000 maybe. Sure. Slowly just depleting. And it's just simply because I was just sick and tired of working for my uncle. I'm probably like 20 years old at this time, just being a kid, doing the same stuff. And I remember, as my income was depleting, I'd gone through a breakup, and it really just messed me up real bad. And I was just depressed. And it got to a point where, like, I just woke up one day and I thought to myself, this isn't you. You know what I mean? This isn't you. It's not like, knock on wood, my family struggled all their life, and we were low income family, and things were really hard. It wasn't like that for me, and that's not what I saw people around me doing, right? So I told myself, you got to get it together. Now, mind you, at this point, I have no idea whatsoever that you can sell a building the same way you sell a home. No idea what commercial real estate is. Obviously you drive by, you see buildings, apartment buildings, retail spaces, but I didn't know, someone owns that and you can sell it. I had no clue whatsoever. And I went on Craigslist and I just started submitting my resume to anything that said cold caller or junior agent or real estate assistant. And I had got a call from a company by the name of Marcus and Millichap. Marcus and Millichap is probably one of the biggest commercial real estate brokerages in the country. And went to this interview, and at this time I was interviewing for a really big fish in over there, right, as like a junior agent. And I remember walking into this company, and everybody's just it was like watching like the Boiler Room, or like just Wolf of Wall Street, everybody, like ex-athletes, suit and tie, just a open area full of cubicles and phones just going, testosterone flying everywhere, people yelling, and it I was like, oh, what did I get myself in for? But I just remember I've never witnessed anything like that at the time, right? My uncle is extremely successful, but he's like super laid back, wears what he wants when he wants. He's also a life coach, so it's like, it's beyond the material things for him, and he's done some pretty crazy stuff. He used to be very materialistic, but he's done some pretty crazy, like, let's say, life-changing trips and stuff with his life coach that really changed his mindset, right? So I came from such a laid back environment, even though everybody was so successful, that really, like, I took a step back and I was like, okay, this is commercial real estate, at least if this is what it is and this is all I know of it, it's a different beast, right? These guys are sharks. And I aced the interview. I aced it. I walked out of there, felt confident. And as I was leaving, I had got a call from a gentleman by the name of Henry Garcia. His assistant actually called me, and Henry was a big time agent, a big time broker, commercial real estate broker, but he did not work at a Marcus & Millichap. Henry worked for Keller Williams, right? Mm-hmm. So obviously in Keller Williams, right? It's Keller Williams. First of all, it's the biggest real estate company in the world by agent count alone, right? Keller Williams has a subdivision called Keller Williams Commercial, so it's a bunch of commercial agents. And I remember his assistant calling me and asking me if I'd be willing to come in for an interview. I felt so good about the previous interview with Marcus & Millichap that I was about to just say no, literally just say no. And my mother was driving at the time, and she's like, "Are you crazy? Just say yes. You don't know what's going to come from any opportunity, right? Don't leave any stone unturned." So I said, yeah. And turns out I went to this interview. It was great. It happened to be my uncle's birthday. It was May 16th. And it was Friday night. And I ended up going to the club for my uncle's birthday, and in walks Mr. Henry Garcia. No idea they know each other. No idea they knew of each other. Nothing. Night went great. He didn't say anything about anything, but it's just like, oh, he's my, Marty, my uncle, his name is Marty. He's like, this is my nephew. And he's like, oh, I just interviewed him. Next day, I guess my uncle might've put in some word or whatever, and he texted me that congratulations, you got a new job. So that was the beginning of the rest of my life. That was literally the beginning of the rest of my life. My job was to show up and make cold calls in Koreatown. Koreatown is in, close to downtown Los Angeles. Obviously, heavy Korean population, right? Lots of older buildings, brick buildings, trophy properties. And that was my area. It was literally just that. Now, still don't have a license at the time, right? My grandmother's pushing me to get a license, and I just keep paying $35 to renew it and extend it and extend it and extend it and pick a different day and not show up or I kept pushing it off basically. And I would start to make these calls. I didn't do a deal for a year, to the point where he basically fired me, came to me and said, hey, it's about time you get off salary, because he was also giving me, let's say money to just keep me afloat for gas and stuff. But again, I didn't really give a shit, because I'm living, with my mom, bills are paid. It was whatever. I was still taking that money and doing what I wanted on Friday and coming back on Monday with $0 and waiting for that, not doing anything until Friday again and make some more money, and do it again. And he quit. I quit, and I went back to go work for my uncle. Now my uncle sells homes. So I remember getting I just leased a new car. I was, which my mom actually paid for, and was paying for. And I got my first residential clients, started driving them from house to house to house, offer after offer after offer. And it went on for about 3 months, and every time we thought we found something and we submitted an offer, we didn't get it. So we'd have to go another route. Right. That all for them to, we went to a listing. It was about 3 months after me driving them around, and they ended up knowing the real estate agent with the listing. So they pull me aside and they say, hey, David, I'm sorry. Like, we have a previous relationship with this guy. We know you've been working with us, but I think, we really want this house, and I think it's best we go with them. And obviously, look, I'm not a jackass, right? I'm a polite guy. So just out of nature, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, I understand, right? And I called my uncle. I called their lender. I said, this is what they did to me. I quit. F this. Click. I went to my uncle. I said, man, I'm not doing this shit anymore. Not for me. There was a guy in my office, in the office building. who was selling apartment buildings. And his idea was no listings ever. Off market, off market, off market. He knew me when I was younger, and he's maybe like, he was like maybe 5 years older than me, 6 years older than me. So he just saw, me as a family friend, a young kid, and he's like, hey, I need an assistant. I'll give you $500 a week. On your own time, you could call for deals when you're not calling for me. And I think I was making 35% of anything I brought in. Still no license, right? I would find these deals. My job was to find deals, bring it to him. He would bring the buyer, and everything would be under his name, and he would just cut me a check on the side, right? Mm-hmm. Second day, I call a building, and the owner picks up, and I hang up just out of fear of cold calling, right? This is, I remember it like it was yesterday. I hang up, and like my mom's voice came into my head, and I'm like, that could be the one. I pick up the phone, I call him right back and make up some BS about how my phone got disconnected. And my name is David Cohen and XYZ. And he's like, 3.4, don't call me back. So, okay. I go to my boss. Hey, this is what's going on. The boss is like, all right, I'll work on it. 6 p.m. I'm on my way to the gym. He texts me, congratulations, you have your first deal. Right?
Stop.
Yes. So it was I'm screaming in the car, like, yes, losing my mind.
You don't have any idea what you've just done. You're like, I don't even know what just happened.
No idea. Yeah. I mean, mind you, right? I don't even get to see like anything. My job was literally get a name on a piece of paper, write down the building, the unit number. I mean, how many units it is, where it is, and what the guy told me. And he took it on from there. No, so you're nothing. All I'm thinking is like, man, I'm going to sell a $3.4 million building. It was a seamless process. Time, the escrow went really easy, and it closes. And then at that time, he gets paid, and I think the total commission. I apologize. I said it was 35%. My structure with him was 15% of one side because I didn't have a license, right? Mm-hmm. So in comes $100,000 check. But he double ended it. So it was 50 and 50. So I only get 15% of the 50 grand. Sure. And I get this check, and which was like a few $1,000, and I think I am the man. I think I'm the man. I got like $7 grand, $8,000 in one check or whatever it was. And I'm riding around and, doing whatever, just thinking I'm the man,
Dude, and, you got Snoop Dogg playing. You're just like, everything. Dude, I'm right. Like, I'm everything. Good.
Snoop. Yeah. I really didn't give a hell about anything because I thought I was the man, right? But then slowly, kept showing up, right? Another deal. I have no license still, right? So my grandmother's really pushing me. I'm watching these really, 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 really big checks, but I'm only taking like a fraction of it come in, and it started to eat at me, right? Started to eat at me slowly, but I didn't care because every time it was time to take a test, I had a deal that I was working on with him, and all my focus would just go to that. So I would put off that test for another 3 months because I just felt I didn't need it. I was okay making the 10 grand, 8 grand, 20 grand, and whatever it was. I was 23 years old at the time. And I was living with my grandmother at this point. I had moved from my mother's to my grandmother's because my mother started to have a hard time making money in the mortgage world. So she started bouncing around from house to house to house, getting foreclosed on. And I ended up moving with my grandmother and my grandfather. Simply living with them, but I would leave super early and not come back till late at night because there was just simply nothing to do. Sure. Simply nothing to do. And it was just it may sound like it's cool, you're making these little checks, but it was tough, because I'm watching like my mom struggle, someone who make like, six figures every year easily, go down to like making nothing, can't even pay rent, can't even, do her nails or whatever whatever women like to do. And it just, the fire in me slowly started to build up. I started doing a few deals, and I was in a relationship at the time, right? This is with my current wife. I was in a relationship at the time, and fast forward to 2016, I probably have like maybe, I don't know, $10-15 million in volume under my belt. I was dating my wife for about 2 years at this point, and she comes to me, and it's a Friday morning, and I'd gone to spin class like 6 a.m, and my phone is blowing up, literally like blowing up, but I can't grab it because you're in the middle of a class. So I go to my phone and it says, "Hey, I think I'm pregnant," and I'm like, "What?" Hey, I believe I'm pregnant. So I'm like, okay, I went to Rite Aid. My wife is a very she's a very how can I say this? She's
be careful.
Frugal.
Okay.
She's just not a, she likes it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if something's amazing. If two things are almost identical, and she thinks like she can get away with using this one, and this one's 99 cents, and this one's $1.15. She's going with the 99 cents. But it, it did play a big part in grounding me a little bit in my life as well. So I went to Rite Aid and bought like those $30 tests, and I get home, I give her one, positive. Give her another one, positive. I'm like, oh shit, we're having a baby, and it's really tough. My wife is not Jewish, right? My wife is Hispanic. She's from El Salvador. So for someone like me who was raised in a Jewish culture, right? Like my mother moved here when she was 2 years old. So she's pretty much as American as it gets, she's Israeli American, but she was raised here, all her life. My uncle as well, but my grandmother wasn't, right? She didn't come here until she's like 30 years old from Israel. So when you're in the Jewish community, right, and you're going to tell your grandma that you're marrying a non-Jewish girl, and they have like that old school, thoughts, shit gets ugly really fast. And I didn't tell anybody for a little while, but I remember when I went to go tell my mom, she was a bit bothered for a second, but obviously, it clicks in. It's just me and my sister, right? So I'm sure it clicked in. Hey, I'm going to be a grandmother, and it started to ease up. But I didn't tell anybody else for a while. And I sat down one night, and I'm like, all right, I got to do something. I have to do something. Number one, I have to go get my license. Number two, I got to figure out what the hell I'm going to do. I can't just keep, watching someone taking, 100 grand, 150 grand a check, and I'm taking like a fraction of it, when I'm doing the work, because as we know now, right, the hardest part is not bringing the buyer. The hardest part is finding the deals. Mm-hmm. That's really that's really what's hard, right? And if only a percentage of the billions of junior agents there are around the world can realize that you really don't need a senior, after a certain point in your life. They a lot more people would be more successful than they are. I get DMs and many of them on Instagram and stuff like that, messages just asking me, hey, what's the quickest way to how can I, what do you recommend for a young kid, or what's the quickest way to sell these big buildings or whatever it may be? And I tell them, look, for a few years, and they want to go do it by themselves, but you have to start somewhere. The best advice I can offer someone is find someone who's already doing it, that's willing to give you, a little bit of money to keep you afloat, and willing to pay you commission. Learn what you got to do and get out of there, right? But everybody these days with, all these younger kids, everybody just wants a shortcut. Everybody wants to do it, themselves. Like I had one guy message me and ask me advice, and I told him exactly that. Right. And he goes, I was on a team and I couldn't stand someone making more money than me. Right. That was his response to me.
Sorry.
Yeah. And it just, I don't even think I responded. I was just like, excuse what, how do you expect to learn from anyone if you,
yeah.
But I went, I studied for the test. I got my license, many, many years later, probably like almost 6 years after I was approved to take the test, right? I finally went and got my license. Grandmother was ecstatic, and I started to really put the pedal to the metal.
How old were you when you finally got your license?
I was 25 years old.
How are you? How old are you now?
I am 29 years old. I'll be 30 in January.
So 4+ years
roughly.
You've had your license, and
yeah, I've had my real estate license for probably maybe 4.5 years. But pre-license, I probably have already like, $30-40 million in volume.
I want to hit something as we begin to talk about your license.
Absolutely.
I think, a lot of investors I've met, some of the best ones have been contractors, or like they know the aspect of it, or cold callers or something like that. You, for the longest time, have not been stepped out front with the clients for the most part, but you knew the business of it, right? And I think it's not talked about enough. You don't need to swagger. Like, I'm a good people person, you're a good people person, so it's there. But I would imagine that your level of knowledge to be able to talk the inside out of a deal from all those years of cold calling probably has given you an advantage, don't you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it just came from just keeping your eyes and ears open, while you're calling. Okay, why is this 150 a door? Why is this 200 a door? Just trying to stick your beak anywhere you can to learn something about what you're dealing with, right? And obviously, as I started doing deals, you try to hold hands with your senior broker or whoever your boss is, and try to learn everything you can about the deal. Listen, in residential real estate, right? When you pull up to someone's house to sell their home, you got to smell like money. You got to look like money. Got to be driving money. It doesn't matter what you're doing, right? Not until you actually become successful in commercial real estate or in that world do you realize the real people with money could give a shit what you look like, what you wear, what you drive, whatever, because they don't care. Some of my billionaire clients, right? Or I mean, these guys are in flip flops and board shorts and t-shirts and even though some of them, they do have to get dressed, but aside from that, they're driving Priuses and there's no Rolexes or anything like that. It doesn't matter. If you're the guy with the deal, anybody will speak to you.
Okay. Boom. You just hit it on the head. So give me one or two things, because my mentors are in GoBundance, which is nothing but millionaires, and I've been around billionaires briefly. But what I'm saying is, what 3 things? What are they looking for from somebody if you're doing business with them? This is a huge sticking point for me that they've taught me how you approach them, and because these are people that are busy, right? So knock out a couple 3 points of what they need.
Trust is number 1. Right? The only way you're going to extract information from someone is if they trust you. That's the only way that someone is someone of that status is going to allow you a shot. Is trust, integrity, and lastly, I believe just being yourself. Those people like that can smell when someone is trying too hard or trying to be someone, they're not. There's many times I have done a deal with people I've never in my life thought I would even come across, right? From from all different walks of life. And I asked them, hey, why me? And we'll get into that. But and they just said, hey man, I just felt that you were yourself, you were honest. Even though they didn't know me, but so for someone, it's the first time we ever spoke, or I contacted them, or whatever it may be. And I just felt like you were an honest guy. And that's what wins me deals over these big brokerage houses, these bigger like CBREs and these Keller Williams, Marcus and Millichap and all these bigger, traditional commercial real estate brokerages.
And I think what's super important is two things I've learned from them is, one, do what you say you're going to do when you're going to do it with a speed. The second thing is you have to remove friction from their decision. These
Absolutely.
guys look at decisions all day, right? And so present it. I'm about to do a podcast on this tomorrow. Present it in the most professional and simple to understand way so they can pull the trigger. When you're handing somebody 30, 60, $80 million deal, we need to know, like, I have a friend who's been in marketing for 30 years. He calls it the front of the cereal box. If I have to turn it over, then it's not a deal anymore. I need to know at the front of the cereal box exactly what we're talking about, and then boom, I can move on. Like,
absolutely.
It's
I feel like that's what makes that's what separates like the strong from the weak in the brokerage world, or whatever you're doing, whether you're wholesaling, real estate, or you're actually brokering, these deals. And that's really what separates, the strong from the weak.
And something I want to touch on with you, because you're dude, I love this. You're the number one guy that I want to talk to about this, because you're in these rooms. So something very interesting. Working with my coach, I had a character in my 20s that we called Tasmanian Devil. And he was a madman. His energy was infectious, right? Oh, you're going to fucking love this shit. But his energy was almost too much, right? Like too much to get the big dogs, to be around the big dogs. And my coach, when they bring a horse in to like impregnate a horse, and there's like a horse they bring in first that calls the teaser horse to get them hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was me. I was the guy and then all the big dogs were doing deals. So what we did is we created a character that was an older version of me that had values, and that guy was Clint Eastwood, right? And that guy was deals don't come to him, all these things, right? And I know this is metaphysical talking, right? But there is a certain energy that somebody that's worth 20, 30, $1 billion that radiates, that they can feel, right, in a room. And you get what I'm saying? Like there's a certain, those guys that are doing deals like that, there's a certain quasi energy that's emulated in the room, that they know who's who. They can call it out. Dude, they've seen it a million times.
And that's I feel like you're absolutely right, because they've been through so much of that, right? That they can do it on the spot. They can tell you exactly, okay, this guy does this and this guy does that, and okay, he could probably do this and he probably can, and chances are they're right. 99.9% of the time they're right, because they've, just like anything else, right? When you're in that field and your stuff, you can tell anybody anything. You could literally just almost predict like who this person is the moment they walk in the door and you look them in the face.
There's a guy here in Austin. His name's David Osborne. He's got like 86 revenue streams. They buy like 200 houses at a time. He's a big baller here. Wrote a book called Wealth Can't Wait. He interviews people for 2 months, and they go, why? And he goes, because I'm interviewing somebody that I'm paying $1 million, so they make me 10 million. He goes, I'm going to make sure, like, I'm not hiring somebody to make me 50 grand. I'm hiring somebody to make $1 million. And, when you're playing on that level, how you present yourself or how you present the deal. And I'm just as guilty of it in my younger days. Like, oh, I'm so excited about this deal. And it's like, dude, let's slow down. Let's make sure that we have all the details necessary that evolve in a deal, and then we can present it, because you might only get one chance. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
And what I've realized is as you tap into, like, when I and we'll get into this, but how when I started selling the bigger stuff, It's only one chance. You only got one chance. These people don't even have time for you to fuck up.
That's it.
They just don't. And they deal with so many people every day, and so many people are calling them at, it's not like a girlfriend or a friend where you can mess up and hey man, I'm sorry, okay, you know what, I'll give you another shot, because they don't know you. They don't know you. They could care less. And trust me, they probably got way better things to do with their time than talk to me on the phone. At that, when you first start.
And we're going to dip into your story, but I want to hit this very important point. But all you need is the one chance to get through. And multifamily is a game of showing that you can close. And baby, when you close, price points remove themselves, because that's when you get deals. Am I not right?
You are absolutely correct. And with that being said, my wife's pregnant, right?
Yeah.
And I'm telling myself, what the fuck am I going to do? And I thought to myself, hey, everybody is calling the degular stuff. Everybody's cold calling the regular stuff. The only people that are calling the big dogs are the big brokers, right? I don't know if you're familiar with like IPA, Institutional Property Advisors, So IPA is basically the Navy SEALs of Marcus and Millichap, right? It's like the top dog. Any institutional size building that is listed probably anywhere in the country, is pretty much listed by these guys. It's literally IPA stands for Institutional Property Advisors, and they're literally the Navy SEALs of the Marcus and Millichap, right? So they list these buildings, and just by nature, when you're an institutional company, you pretty much have to list it, right? When it's time to sell, you don't have a choice, because it's not your money. It's pensions funds, stocks and all these other things. So just respectfully, it has to go to market and be widely marketed and try to get to everybody in the world. So I had that idea. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to try someone's got to give me a shot. Someone, and as I gave it some more thought, I started to cold call these buildings. But I couldn't get through to anybody, because it was only receptionists and managers and things like that. And obviously these gatekeepers are trained to shun you away from talking to whoever can make a decision. That's their job, right? You call and say, hey, I'm trying to reach, David Cohen about his building. It's like, not for sale, click. And to get through these people, it was really hard. So I started to build an outside of the box approach, which is what my business is now, right? And I thought to myself, look, these people are not answering their phone. I can't get through to them. But what is one thing that every single billionaire, trillionaire, millionaire, whatever, CEO of every company, what is one thing they all do and they all have in common? They all check their emails. Everybody checks their email, right? It doesn't matter if they may not respond, right? But if you're Mark Cuban, Zuckerberg, it doesn't matter, right? I'm sure if you can find a correct email address, a personal or whatever it may be, to someone, they're at least, who the hell is this guy, and throwing it to the trash, right? Or whatever it may be. But every single person checks their email. Every successful business person. So I started emailing these people instead of cold calling. I started doing my research and finding email addresses for these big sharks and putting my pitch in an email. I started to develop a thing for less is more, right? I'm a big believer in less is more. And I went from, hey, Austin, my name is David Cohen with Keller Williams Commercial, and I calling about your building on XYZ. Is there a price in mind? I went from that to just, Austin, is there a price in mind that would get you to sell the building? Now, by nature, if you're some successful, business owner and you own a bunch of real estate and someone sends you a message like that, your first reaction is going to be like, who the hell is this guy? You know what I mean? But what I started to realize is that does not sound like a cold call, or like I'm trying to sell them something, right? I simply want to know. And then they realize like I would get responses like, who are you? Or sometimes I would get responses of just a flat out price. So there was a building in Burbank, California. Now Burbank is in Los Angeles County, right? But it's connected to the San Fernando Valley, but it's got its own rules, its own everything. Now, in Los Angeles County at the time, anything built before 1979 is considered rent control, right? In Burbank, it didn't matter. Everything was non-rent control because the city of Burbank was different. And I remember emailing this guy, and he was actually a councilman in Burbank, and he had this 146 unit property right next to Disney Studios, prime. And I offered him like $28 million. I say, hey, would you consider selling this for $28 million? And I'll never forget it. He responds to me and he goes, are you out of your mind? He's like, you're offering me a property. You're offering me $28 million for a building that has 0 vacancies and is this and that. And it was on the cusp of Toluca Lake, which is like the end of the San Fernando Valley, and Burbank. So I told him, look, with all due respect, it's a rent control building. And then he responds, oh, that's where you're wrong, my friend. It's actually in Burbank, not in Toluca Lake. So, but the building was called the Village at Toluca Lake. So he says that, and then it's ... I might consider 68 million, right? I go everywhere trying to find a buyer. Now it's my first time trying to find someone to pay that kind of price for a building, right? So I know I just can't call my regular guys who I've created relationships with. But I ended up calling a big institution, and I told them, I was just straight up with them. I just told them, hey, look, you don't know me, I don't know you, but I have a deal that might be of interest to you. Who's the best person I can speak with, or who's the best person to speak to? Who handles acquisitions in Los Angeles? And they put me in touch with someone, and I was talking to him, and he's like, look, I can probably get to like 55 million. Right. So I'm like, okay. Guy disappears on me for 2 weeks. Owner is asking me, hey, what's up with that offer? I'm sure he started to think I was bullshitting him. And they disappeared. So now I have to go find another buyer. And I have like a matter of days before he tells me probably go F yourself. Or he probably was already thinking of that in his mind, But I did. I called another institution and I told them, hey, this is my situation. I got a guy waiting for an offer. My buyer disappeared. They looked at the number and they're like, hey, we can do 59 million and we can cover your fee. So I'm thinking, man, it's bigger than what I had, but 59 is still far away from 68. They ended up sending me an LOI. I sent it to the man. My thing is, I try to teach my callers and my juniors, my thing is, as long as be happy if it's a no. I mean, if they didn't say no, I'm sorry, right? As long, it doesn't matter what they say. As long as they didn't say no, the door is still open this much, right? So I sent it and he didn't say no. He said, I'll review it. I said, okay. A week goes by. Hey, what's going on, with the offer? Did you take a look at it? I'm thinking about it. Turns into, we're going to bring it up in our board meeting. Turns into, okay, let's open escrow. So I did. Yeah,
Dude, hold on, I gotta clarify something. Are you telling me this was your first deal as an agent? As a real No.
Oh, as a licensed agent? Yes.
Stop. Your first deal as a licensed agent was 59 fucking million.
$59 million.
What are you thinking? You don't even know what the fuck's going on, do you? You're just like, I'm just gonna ride this one out? Or or let me ask you a question. Had you done so many deals like this with your boss that you felt so comfortable in it?
So yes and no, right? I closed a bunch of deals already at this point, before the day I got my license, I got like 40 million in volume under my belt, right? That deals that I brought in. Aside from that, he was doing like a $55 million deal that he had closed. So I had watched all that, but I didn't know. I just thought to myself, it's the same shit. It's the same, At this point, like it's the same thing. The guy's either going to tell me yes or no, and we're going to go through due diligence, and they're either going to get, contingencies are either going to get removed, and I'll be all right, or they're not, and that's it, and my shot is gone. That's just what I was thinking. How much different can it be? But what really helped me out is, instead of being the middleman between these two big guys, I thought to myself, look, my only shot at this is if I can get them together and I can just step back. Mm-hmm. And they were open to it, right? A lot of times a smart seller or owner is going to tell you no, right? Because they want you to be the channel of, the open channel. God forbid anything goes wrong, straight to you as broker, right? Mm-hmm. But these guys were open. And I the day we opened escrow, I created an email chain, and I CC'd both of them. And I said, Mr. Owner, here's Mr. Seller. The seller was familiar with the company that was buying it, because obviously it's a nationally held company. Anything you guys need, go ahead and email it. And they were super fine with that. So I would be CC'd pretty much in the whole deal, and it would just go back and forth, between them. So anytime whatever due diligence were needed, they would ask for it, or if they needed to get in to do some inspections, they would just shoot and the guy would respond. And I realized that it also made me realize that when you're doing these bigger deals with two bigger dogs, right, it goes a lot smoother. Mm-hmm. because if you can just put them together, if they're open to it, that line of communication is going to be so much easier. So when he told me that, he told me he's okay with it, we went on, and it was I'm not going to say it was easy, because there was a few hurdles, nothing crazy. But yeah, the deal ended up closing. The deal ended up closing. It was my first deal with an actual license.
You had a broker?
It was me and someone else, but at this point we're like 50-50 business partners. I had worked I
don't be embarrassed or don't. I don't give a shit. How much was the commish?
$600,000. One point. And but that's you see people ask me all the time, right, in messages, do you still make 2 to 3%, or people, they have that idea in their head, right? And I tell them, look, every deal is different, right?
Of course.
Sometimes you'd be lucky. Look, if you're selling 50, 60, $100 million buildings, chances are you're not even going to make 1%, right? Chances are you'd be lucky to like make 0.5%, maybe even 1/4. Mm-hmm. But they paid 1 point. They paid 1 point, and
so we'll talk about on the back half of that. But I want to dissect this real quick, just because I'm a mindset coach.
Absolutely.
What the fuck are you telling yourself when that check hits your bank account? Because it didn't feel real until the check hit the bank account.
Yeah, when it felt real, a few days before the check hit the bank account, it felt real, because obviously when you're dealing with institutions, right? What people do, they think like, okay, you got a big deal in escrow with an institution or something, that's it. They don't understand that even after contingencies are removed, even after all that, then they go to a board and they say, okay, are we approving this? Or are we not approving this? Right? Like maybe like a week before you're supposed to close or whatever. And I got a call and he's like, hey, we're going to approve this deal. That's when it felt real. That's when, the phone clicked and the emotions start going, and you kind of take a step back and you're like, is this supposed to happen to me? Like, what the hell? I'm just a fucking, kid from the valley, like, am I supposed to be selling $60 million deal? Like, this is unbelievable. I didn't know what to feel, right? I didn't know what to feel. And then when you get paid, it even, the feeling even brightens even more.
So I would imagine that all of a sudden it's like, I'm about to use the worst reference ever, but all of a sudden you got your glasses off, your braces off, and you're hitting the promenade on the red carpet. And all of a sudden I would imagine people are like, who the hell is this guy that locked in this deal? Because they're writing about that deal, right, in the papers and stuff.
Yeah. So that deal was like the blew the doors off, right? That was the one that opened, that allowed me to do everything I do today. It's that's the reason why, I have this outside of the box business. Why I I got a call after it came out in the papers and all these things, and the deal was off market, right? And the guy was a big councilman, and the owner was a big councilman. So my phone starts ringing with these other institutions, and they're like, "Who the fuck are you? And how the fuck did you do that?" Now, only after having conversations with a few of these guys did I realize, fuck, I pulled the rug from under like so many institutions and so many big brokers' feet. Literally like swiped it, because these guys are calling me and say, "How the hell did you do that? We've been working on it for this long and for that long, and with this big guy and that big broker. And how do we get you to bring us those deals first before you bring whoever you talk to?" Now I pretended like I got all these clients, right? But they don't know, like it was like a one-off thing, and they just appreciated that, again, that I'm not your average commercial real estate broker. When I say that, I mean, no disrespect to the CBRE and the Marcus and Millichap guys, but I am not in a suit and tie every day. Got plenty of suits. They hang in my office. They go on when they need to go on, but as soon as I come back in here, they come off. I'm just not that guy. They looked at me literally as like a street hustler that can bring them buildings, right? I didn't finish, like really go through any crazy education or anything like that. And I wasn't working at these big companies. So for them to see someone doing deals like that at a Keller Williams, now mind you, even though it's the biggest brokerage in the world, it's big because it's residential, right? That's what people know Keller Williams for, not for commercial real estate. In Austin, I know, people know KW Commercial because it was founded in Austin, Texas. You know what I mean? But in other states, especially in California, Keller Williams Commercial, it wasn't anything special. So they saw that, and that was their thing. How do you start to bring us deals? And that's what really blew the doors off my business, because I ended up learning that I stepped on a ton of brokers' toes, and a ton of big companies' toes. So I started to think to myself, hey, what if I ask these big groups to give me actual criteria? Hey, this is what we buy. This is where we buy. I can make a business of specifically looking for stuff for these guys, literally. And I did slowly. I just started calling and doing stuff like that, and hunting these actual buildings. And now I have a very outside of the box approach to commercial real estate. My business is extremely outside of the box. It's more cold emailing than cold calling, as I mentioned, just due to the people that I'm dealing with. While my cold callers are calling, the bread and butter, the smaller stuff that, let's say, we sell every day, it allowed me time to focus on the bigger stuff. And I started to become the drug dealer of selling institutional property.
So in essence, are you a wholesaler of large scale multifamily, basically? I mean,
I guess you can say that, yeah. But I don't like to call myself a wholesaler,
of course,
because I'm actually a broker. I'm actually like I'm in. It's not like I'm putting people together as like a wholesaler and they're getting a deal.
You're an off market specialist to trade properties.
Exactly. If you look at my signature, it literally says off market specialist.
So after the $59 million deal, how much real estate do you think you've closed in that short amount of time since then?
That how much?
Probably like a couple billion. Oh, you got them all.
After that one came this one.
Which one is that?
The price on that one?
Where's it at? Holy bananas! Get out of here! Seriously, 132 million.
that was that. You see, it's like as I started to build that, as I told you, like when I started to build this outside of the box business, I was like, dude, the sky's the limit. But I never told myself, hey, I just sold a $60 million building. How do I sell a bigger building? That was never my focus, right?
So
My focus was
you were living in your process and your systems, not in your results.
Exactly. I was just like, I continue to call these things just like they gave me a shot. There's other people that are going to give me a shot. But at this point, I got somewhat of a name, right? I got somewhat of a buzz. I made some noise. I actually got the deal, the $60 million deal, got like crazy recognition and awards in California. So, I started to build a bit of a buzz for myself. But I was only selling real estate in Southern California.
Sure.
The guy that bought the deal from me, the acquisitions guy, right? A spot opened up in the Bay up north. And he was actually from there. He lives there, and he was actually from there. He was raised there. So when that guy got fired, he was like, a lot of his family was there. So they took him and they put him up there. So now we got this relationship, and he's up there, and he's like, hey, this is my situation now. How do we sell some deals out there? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to start looking for deals out there. And I did, and I started doing deals in the Bay, and slowly doing another deal, and I'm starting to build these relationships with other institutions, and they're telling me exactly what they buy, and some of them are like, hey, we buy in Seattle, we buy in Nashville, we buy in Texas, we buy in Colorado, and now I sell deals all over the country.
Okay.
Literally all over the country. Primarily I don't get me wrong, I don't sell any like if I'm going to do a deal outside of the country, it's got to be 100 plus. It's got to be worth some time. You know what I mean? Because I'm not to go learn, like small pockets and small markets of mom and pop stuff in
Sure.
other states. It's time consuming. It's going to be tough because I'm not there to physically see it. Sure. Versus being versus somewhere. Seattle, I'm very familiar with. Nashville, I'm very familiar with, and like Las Vegas and places like that, because I can get there quickly, right? Texas, I go to all the time because Keller Williams is obviously, it was founded in Texas, and family reunion and stuff like that. I'm in Texas once a year.
What I think is interesting, and this is what I wanted to ask you about, because I didn't know much about you. I see that you're pretty new to Instagram, newish, or like at least giving a crap about it lately, for sure. You were, if I'm not mistaken, you're doing a lot of this stuff without social media exposure. You were just kind of working, right? And or am I wrong, or were you doing it under a different name, or like?
No, it's not that I was new to like Instagram or anything. I just
you were just working.
I just never cared. I just never cared, and again, just being myself. I would just post a picture and or whatever it may be, and people would engage, especially, and they would see these things. I don't know what it, I can't tell you what it is about me.
What I like about you, and the little bit I know, but I'm very good at reading people. You've done those big deals, but I don't see any ego about it. I mean, yeah, you're excited, right? Like, hey, dude, when we're by ourselves, like, hey, man, I fucking sold a $130 million property. Like, that's a big deal. I'm happy for you. That's fucking awesome. But I feel like maybe I'm wrong or not, I feel like your life is taking on a different meaning now, because the expectations of what you thought was possible have exceeded that so much that you're happy to show the way to other people.
Exactly. It's with Instagram itself, it was just like just being myself and just posting what I wanted. So people started to engage. Only now do I take it a little bit more seriously, because I realize all the untapped income and potential and stuff that can come from it, and just people that you can help.
What happened last night? I mean, we just met like a month ago, and now and now you have a phone call with a guy who's got a fund, like
exactly.
That's like boom, and now that you say you work in Nashville, I got a guy for you to meet in Austin and a guy for you to meet in Nashville. So we're good.
You see? And that wouldn't, we would never even, say a word to each other if I didn't have Instagram or, and anything like that. And look, you can take a look at like, people I follow, right?
Mm-hmm. Dude. Oh my God, many. Bro, I'm 100%. And what I think's interesting, and we're going to talk offline in this because I don't want to share all the good stuff. But I have a network that's insane. Like, I know people, I've traveled around the world. Like, I've worked in high-end restaurants, hotels. I have had the hardest time monetizing my network. Like, that's my thing is like, I'm trying to figure out like, okay, like I've put a lot of people together, like, but I'm not getting a part of the deal. And now I'm at a point where like, I want to make sure that like all this 21 years. So, maybe there's something there. Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying?
See, like I was, and I'm not saying that this has anything to do with our relationship, right?
Sure.
But I was the guy who fucking worked for everything, and did all the work and made, the crumbs and what, So when someone brings me an opportunity like you brought me, should I get a check? It's 50-50. There is no, like, if the relationship came from you, you may not even know about it, and you'll walk, in your mailbox, have a check in it from me. Like, that's just what I do, right? When I bring on people to call for me, if you got a license, it's 50-50. No, I don't give a fuck if all you did was make a phone call and bring me the lead and it turned into a deal. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's what that's what keeps people going. That's what keeps people, that's what makes people want to go get it, right? Who the hell, wants to go get it? And put in, the work. If they'll do it once or twice, and then they'll realize, like, hey, what the fuck am I doing?
100%. And I want to respect, because I know you have a doctor's appointment, but what I want to talk about, this is one of my favorite things, especially to do with where you are now. First of all, you're a dumbass for not getting your license sooner, but that's okay. It took a baby to
my grandmother says the same thing. I wish you guys could talk to each other.
I love your grandma. Yeah. But what I had, okay, look, you don't know a lot about me, but I was a meth addict and I was homeless and I lived in a closet and I was an alcoholic for 20 years. And everybody goes, man, I've lost 70 pounds, like all these things, right? Like, you should have figured it out sooner. And I'm like, no, because I'm exactly where I should have been, right where I should have been. Because I have walked through all that because I was strong enough. And now I can go out and help people get out of their own way, right? And what I love was coaching and all that stuff like that. And it's all a stepping stone. I've worked in private equity and so on and so on. So if you were to sit down with I didn't give a shit, David, at 17 and 18, a lot of my audience are young. A lot of the people I coaches are younger, just getting started out. Mm-hmm. What would you tell him that now as you're sitting here having done these ridiculous deals? What would you tell him?
Oh man. Number one would have been get your license. But no, in all due honesty, just, don't rush it. Just because you see people winning and on Instagram and other places, or whatever, just do your thing. If you kick the door enough, it's gonna go down. As long as you're a good person, you got faith, it's gonna work out. But I don't mean like faith, like, you got it for while things are going good, and then one thing goes wrong, you're like, fuck, man, what am I gonna do? Like, you really need to stick it out. And I would make David understand that when people tell you everything happens in due time, it's absolutely correct. Mm-hmm. Everything happens when it needs to. Old David was just influenced by things around him. You know what I mean? Oh, how the fuck do I get like him, or how do I make, he's making a bunch of money, or he's driving that car, or he's doing that, just to show off for, at the end of the day, people who really are not going to give a shit about you should something happen to you. You know what I mean? None of that matters. I would literally tell the young person who, just hang out with people, with more knowledgeable people that are professionals in whatever you're trying to get into, right? Because that's what's really gonna mold you and change you. And what happens is you take what you learn, right, and you'll put your own twist on it, And everybody you meet that's successful and that's doing something, you're going to put your own twist on things, and you know, just it'll happen in due time. I never in my life thought I would sell a $59 million building. I never in my life thought I would sell a $130 million building. You're going to laugh at me, Austin, but ask me if I've ever seen the $130 million building in person. Ask me if I've ever met the seller ever. Never met the seller. Never even fucking been to San Jose to sell, you know, but none of that matters. You know, as long as you work hard and you have faith, man, you know, it'll somehow, some way it'll work out.
You know what's interesting about people? As I dive farther into personal development, as I coach people, I realize something about humans, and I think it's something that's glazed over too often. You know what we need, really, more than anything else? The opportunity.
Absolutely.
When people get disenfranchised and they lose passion, it's because they don't have the opportunity to expand more.
That's true. You know,
because you could, dude. My dad is a very well-known dentist in Texas. I grew up next to Kevin Garnett on a country club, and then fast forward a year later, I'm sleeping in 25 square feet, strung out on methamphetamines, laying bricks for 70 hours a week, thinking to myself, what the fuck is going on with my life? But here's the great thing. I always had the opportunity to turn it around. It doesn't matter how bad you messed it up. It doesn't matter if you're 50 or 60. But when we take away the opportunity, we take away the fight. And so
that's, you know, people, you know, people just need a shot, you know, whether it be someone who's willing to give them a shot. And look, you know, if we go full circle, the person who brought me into the business, we own apartment buildings together now, you know, never knew that would happen.
And don't. This is me talking to my younger self. Don't you fucking ever burn bridges. You have no idea when somebody's going to come back around.
That's another thing, right? With the guy that hired me, that I met, you know, that same night at my uncle's birthday party, when he had fired me, I never burned a bridge with him. I never did. And, you know, fast forward to today, not only do we sell buildings, we own apartments together. And he actually this year, he's probably 52. He just up and moved his family to Austin from Los Angeles.
No kidding.
Yeah, everybody, him, his dog, his wife, his 2 kids, their furniture, cars, everything. And he swears it's the quality of life is the best thing ever. He's got me wanted to. If I didn't have a stepdaughter, right? If I didn't have a stepdaughter, obviously that goes back to, you know, to her dad, because she goes every other weekend.
Yeah.
And so obviously you can't just, you know, up and take her.
Well, I tell you what, David, I really wish you knew somebody that specializes in vacation rentals at the large scale. Wait, that guy's me. So you can have an asset here and visit when you want to, and it can make money when you're away.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that about you. So that's awesome.
Yeah, this is what we do. We're only focused on $1 million and up, and we're looking at shipping container properties with hotels and then teepees and stuff like that. So. Oh,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that offline. But, you know, it's one of those things where my theory I have, and we'll finish here with this. I meet a lot of 21-year-olds, 24-year-olds that have, 180 units or 300 units. And I have a theory that the reason that they're successful is because they don't know any better.
That's true, though. I feel that's correct.
I almost feel like part of the reason that you were successful is you were like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, we're just going to give it a shot. And then boom, it happened. And then here we are. Right. And I think there's something to be said for naiveness.
Absolutely. You know, it's the most dangerous. And when I say dangerous, I don't mean in a bad term. I mean in a good term. Right. It is just, you know, someone who doesn't know any better, who hasn't experienced, you know, failure or who's experienced failure, but never experienced, you know, winning to that extent where, you know, what do you got to lose? You failed so much and have been through so much shit in your life. What's the fucking worst that can happen? You go broke and you try again,
Yeah.
or whatever it may be.
Well, I think of it this way, and I mean this wholeheartedly. This is not an ego thing. This is just my belief in what people that I respect believe. That I was put on this earth to be a coach. I fucking love helping people. I'm dipping my toe in the recovery space, which is hard for me because I don't like the way that recovery is done. So I'm trying a different way. We're going to talk about entrepreneurship and get them excited. But my question to you is as simple as this. If you found what you're born to do, what's the alternative? It's not like I'm going to go back and be a perfume salesman at Abercrombie. Like, dude, it might take 10 years, but I guarantee you that during those 10 years, I'm going to feel happier in what I'm doing because I wake up every day with a purpose instead of smashing our head up against the wall to do something that we absolutely fucking can't stand. It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable because it's gonna erode you from the inside out.
You see, and it's people like you, right? That these younger generation is lucky to have, because I mean, otherwise, do you
know what it's like? I mean, I'm dead serious because my client this morning. Do you know what it's like to talk to somebody that's OD'd on heroin 3 times
no,
at the age not. At the no? But what I'm saying, at the age of 23, motherfucker, he is so.
Oh, that's young.
He is so. Dude, I got my clients been in rehab. It started at 15. Do you know how excited he is to go do real estate? That motherfucker is like a goddamn tiger that's been cupped up in a cage, and you think you're going to outwork him? Oh, no. That's why I love to do business with recovery people and people from the military, because the option to go the other way doesn't exist. Like, it's like, we're just going to go, and you don't stand a chance. And what I try to tell people is as simple as this. My why, my big why, is to lift up everybody around me. So tell me when I can be done.
I'll wait. Hear that every day. Also.
I'll wait. So I'm running an infinite sum game. You don't fucking stand a chance against me. That's why I got so much energy. Do you know that I haven't eaten in 70 hours? This is the longest fast of my life. I've got podcasts. I'm doing 75 hard. But I'm so excited about what I'm doing. I don't care. Like, because my purpose is bigger than buying an apartment complex, right? And what I think that Mr. Cohen here is, maybe not now, but soon, is going to create a school for kids that don't go to college or different, right? That are going to be soldiers of that mentality, right? And you're going to get so much more fulfillment out of that than even closing a $130 million deal. That's where people have it twisted, right? Like, I don't know if that's ever crossed your mind, but I see it.
It's something I am trying to figure out how to put together as we speak.
Mm-hmm. Because I think you're like me. So I have a photographic memory, and school was easy to me, and I didn't find enjoyment from it. And I felt like from 16 to 17, I really got like lost. And I realized that when I meet these great entrepreneurs or these people that are successful in business, their 12-year-olds or 13-year-olds have businesses. And I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. Like, this is great stuff. So that's kind of where I want to lead most of my time. Most of my years is spending time teaching young kids.
It's exactly what I'm currently trying to figure out, because I just think to myself, like, I think about my story and I just think to myself, like, who can't I help? You know what I mean? And I get countless messages on Instagram, especially now that I'm more engaged, right, and engaging with people. I get the most random messages from people all over the country, just, hey, I'm inspired by the deals that you do. If you have time, how do we get on a call, whatever. And I tell them all, I find time to talk to them for a few minutes. You know what I mean? Versus some jackass being like, oh, fuck, you pay me this much before I hop on a call with you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Now, eventually, look, you're giving away all these keys, right? I'm sure, certain people pay you for your coaching. You don't just, give it away for free, all of it at least. But but that's how you slowly build it. So I started off like a few weeks ago, and I didn't have one again, but it was random. On a Thursday, I just asked, I just put like this thing, and I said I'll be hosting a Zoom, on Thursday, and we're just gonna talk real estate, and you guys can ask me whatever. And I ended up having like 40 people on it.
Yeah.
Nothing, like a night before I put, so I thought to myself, like, if I just scale this thing and think about it and imagine all the endless people I can help. I mean, I'm 29 years old, right? Sure. Not only do I own real estate, I got 2 kids, right? A 7-year-old and a 2-year-old. I'm married. I've been married for almost 6 years. I do these big deals. I run a company. I have the biggest real estate sale in Keller Williams history. And I really made something out of nothing, literally, like it literally made something out of nothing. And there's so many people that are sitting there and being like, maybe I want to do this, but I'm afraid, you know what I mean? Or I don't know anybody. I wasn't born into a real estate family. I don't have anybody that can teach me about real estate or how, whatever it may be, how to sell big deals or how to sell a deal regardless, Sure. So I'm working on that because at the end of the day, giving, if you can bring somebody out of a struggle, me watching, someone who's used to making $0 all of a sudden go to making 6 figures just because I gave them a few pointers and it works, it would mean more to me than selling any
1,000%.
Any $1 million building or whatever the hell it may be.
Well, This is officially the longest podcast I've ever done, but it's totally worth it. I love it. We could talk for 7 hours, but you got to take care of some stuff. So if they were to contact you and find you, how would they go about doing that?
Well, on Instagram, it's the David Cohen and then the digit 1. You can find me there. You can email me dcohen@kwcommercial.com. And yeah, man, I don't pick and choose who I respond to, right? I'm open to everybody. It's life's too short to be a jackass,
100%.
It really is. Yeah.
Guys, if you like this episode, make sure you send it out to your friends. If you didn't get something from this, well, then you should stop listening to podcasts. I don't know what to tell you. It's so true. I'm sending this to all my coaching clients the moment that we get done. Dude, I appreciate you, my brother, and we'll see you next time, guys.
My pleasure, man.
Thank you for listening to Construct Your Life with Austin Linney. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and pay it forward by sharing with a friend. Most importantly, take this opportunity to start constructing your life by taking immediate action on what you learned. For show notes, resources, and more information on one-on-one coaching with Austin, visit constructyourlifepodcast.com.